In this lesson, we're going to be graphing linear equations using a table and then using x and y intercepts. For the given equation, x minus y equals 2, find three ordered pairs by completing the table, then use the ordered pairs to graph the equation. So let's start by writing out our table. Our table has an x column and a y column. And then let's put our columns in. And we're given either an x or a y, and we find the other variable. So in the first case, we're given a 1 for x, and we find the corresponding y value. And then we're given a -2 for y, and we find the corresponding x value. And then we're given a 4 for x, and we find the corresponding y value. So let's shorten this up. There's our table right there. So let me move the table over and put it here. And let's start first here by finding the value of y when x is 1. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation right here and we're going to write it out, but we're going to replace our x value with the 1 that's right here. And when we do that, we get 1 minus y equals 2. So what I've done is I've rewritten this equation, but changed the x with a 1, replaced x with 1, and now I want to solve for y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the subtraction to add the opposite, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a -1 to both sides. So what I have is I have 1 plus a -y is equal to 2. And I want to get rid of the 1 that I have right here. So I'm going to add a -1 to both sides. What I do to the right, I have to do to the left. I have to keep my equation balanced. So I add a -1 to both the left and the right. And when I do that, the -1 and the positive finishing up a video from my needy New England college student. Here we're going to graph the linear equation by finding and plotting its intercepts. So we want to find the x and the y-intercepts. So let's first start by finding the x-intercept. And we find the x-intercept by setting y equals to 0. In other words, when y is equal to 0, we want to find x. So let's work that out. We're going to take this equation right here and we're going to set y equal to 0. So we're going to take the equation negative x plus 3 times y equals 3, and we're going to replace the y with a 0. So we're going to put a 0 in there. Put a 0 there. And then when we do that, this 3 times 0 is 0. So we end up with the negative x is equal to 3. And I'm going to multiply both the left and the right hand side by a negative 1. What I do to the left, I must do to the right. So throw a negative 1 there. And I'm doing that because a negative times a negative is a positive, and the left-hand side becomes just x, and the right-hand side becomes a negative 3, which means that our x-intercept is a negative 3. All right, now let's go over and find the y-intercept. What is our y-intercept? Now this is done pretty much the same way. If you want to find the y-intercept, we want to set x equal to 0. So say x equals 0. So we're going to take our equation that we started with right here, which is a negative x plus 3y is equal to 3, and we're going to set x equal to 0. So a negative x, and we're going to set x equal to 0, plus 3y equals 3. And a negative 0 is 0, so we just get 3y equals 3. And we want y to be by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. And we divide it by 3 to get rid of the 3 on the left-hand side. And we get y is equal to 3 over 3, which is 1, which means our y-intercept is 1. So now we have our x-intercept and our y-intercept, so we can graph our equation. So here is our y-axis, and here is our x-axis, and we know that starting at the origin, our x values are 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's a 1, 2, I'm doing every other one. Then we have a negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and then our x-axis, we have a 1, 2, 3, and our y-axis, that was y-axis, and our y-axis down negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So we want to graph our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Our x-intercept is a negative 3, so we go to the x-axis and we find negative 3. There it is right there. Now we go to find our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is a 1. So here is where y is equal to 1. So these are our two x and y intercepts. And if we connect these points, we get our line. And we can graph our line because 2 points give us a unique line. Here is the line that represents a negative x plus 3y equals 3.